All right. So for those of you who joined after I had mentioned this, any questions that you have as I'm going through the presentation, feel free to drop in the chat. I will monitor that as we go. And Kim will kind of be bouncing back and forth as well to help make sure those get answered. And then anything that comes up that you would like to hold until the end, I will be able to answer any questions that you have. We want to make sure that you have all your questions answered as much as possible and as best as possible ahead of time so that you feel comfortable sending your kids with us in just a few weeks. So here's what we're going to look at tonight. I'll give you a second to take a look at that. We're going to try and go through as much information as we can in the short time before you have to pick up your kids from us, but we will look at the travel information so you can take screenshots, write it down, and I will also send out the slides as well. We will be looking at the itinerary a little bit. There's some things that I want to highlight, packing list, and then I'm sure lots of questions on COVID protocol, safety as we are traveling, and then talking about school absences, and then some space for questions. All right, so we'll start with the travel. We are leaving on February 24th, and we will return on the 27th. Our flights will all be in and out of BWI. You will be responsible for getting your kid to and from the airport, and we definitely encourage, depending on people's comfort level, of course, to carpool to and from the airport as much as possible. I know it's not the most ideal to have to get them there in the middle of the day, but we do the best we can. So definitely carpool as much as possible. And then that date on the 21st, we are asking everyone to get a PCR test within 72 hours of our departure. We know they have to go to school after they get tested, but we are trying to mitigate any potential bringing of any sort of sickness into the trip. On the next page, I am going to show you, but it's not, it might be in the COVID protocol, but when you get your students' test results back, you can send me an email with that sheet. I see a question in the chat regarding if your child has recently had COVID, there is a chance that they will still show positive on that test. So that's definitely something that we recognize. I'm going to say that we still would make sure that that's on a personal conversation. Make sure you let us know, and also monitor for symptoms. So if they have done their isolation and have no symptoms at the time, just make sure you reach out to us on a case-by-case basis, and we will address that personally. We are flying Delta, which means that we will not be taking, we will only be taking carry-on bags with us. So if you can please, and we will relay this to your students as well, one carry-on item and one personal item are allowed with them. They can bring things outside of the official packing list. However, we will show you and them the recommended clothes and things that they may want and need with them on the trip. Like I said, in and out of BWI, and correct, Sherry, no checked baggage. Jen, I can look that up at the end of the meeting for like an official size bag for that carry-on item, and I will try and get that to you before we sign off. Maybe Kim can multitask and try and look that up. Our flight times are here. We have departure at 3:13 p.m. and arrival back into BWI on Sunday at 6:34. On the next page, I have our official flight so that you can have the confirmation number to track as well if that's something that you choose to do. And then despite our flight being at 3, we want to make sure everyone is there early so our group is checked in, ready to go through security with plenty of time to ensure that there are no issues and everyone gets on the flight. We will be meeting at 1 o'clock at the Delta ticketing counter. I'm going to pause if there are questions there. All right. So there's the official flight information if you want to screenshot it, take a picture, but like I said, I will be sending this presentation out as well. I'll leave that up for a second so people can write it down. Just scrolling through to see if anyone's still. All right, so here is a little bit of an overview going through the weekend. So on Thursday, we will arrive in Atlanta. And we will be, thank you, Kim, we will be picked up at the airport by the leader of our trip. So we work with a organization called Edgar 36, and they will be the ones actually running and leading our trip once we are there. So they'll pick us up on the airport. They will talk about the theme and kind of overview of the weekend. At that point, we will be brought to our hotel in Georgia, where we will have the evening as a group to get settled in, shower, chill out, hang out, and run some programming ourselves. We are asking that on Thursday, since it's a travel day and the timing is weird, the organization we work with does not provide dinner on that night. So the students will need to bring money to have a dinner kind of on the go as we'll get food from the airport and then eat it outside before we get on the bus. So that is Thursday. Friday is a full day. We will be leaving Georgia and the hotel in Georgia and going to Birmingham, Alabama, where we will do a bunch of walking tours as well as the Rosa Parks Museum. So that's majority of the day on Friday. And then Friday evening, we are joining Beth Orr, their synagogue and their community for Friday night services. So on the packing list, you'll see some items reflected for that, but just think normal Shabbat services here at Beth Ami. And that is that waiver that you need to sign along with your child that was sent in the email that included the itinerary as well as the emergency contact and emergency information form. We don't have that back from everyone, and that's super important for us to have both. So I have emergency contact information, but it also includes pieces like allergies that your child may have, as well as giving us the waiver to be able to go to the synagogue, and it's the spot where you are able to upload a picture of their vaccination card. So I'm going to start probably next week reaching out to anyone I have not gotten that from to ensure that that entire form is given to me. If your child has any sort of allergy or food allergy, that needs to be filled out as soon as possible so that I can make sure we send that to the company to get all of that prearranged prior to our arrival so that they're able to get everything in order with the restaurants and the food service that we're using. You'll notice that after Shabbat dinner, it says pizza dinner and swimming at hotel. There was a disclaimer in our email that this is a draft schedule. We will not be swimming at the hotel. We felt like that for COVID safety, if we were asking students to be wearing masks at all time, that swimming is obviously not a appropriate activity. So instead we will be using a meeting room in the hotel to do games, movies, and pre-made programming through our staff. Anytime, and we'll get to meals later, but whenever you see a meal, there are a couple of different ways that we could be eating, and I will talk about that further just so I can address that now. Allison, I will have to check which email I have for Todd, but I can do that as well at the end if you just stay on for a minute once I finish, or I can email you, whichever's easiest. And then we're in our new hotel in Alabama on Friday night. Saturday morning, we will be leaving our hotel. Breakfast will be at the hotel each of the days. We will be touring Selma and walking across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and then going to Montgomery at that point. After lunch, we will be going to the Lynching Memorial and the Legacy Museum, which I'm super excited about because I heard that it is completely redone throughout the last 2 years of COVID. They have completely redone the museum, so it's supposed to be amazing. And then we will go back to Atlanta and stay at the same hotel we stayed at the first night. So that is Saturday. And when we get to Atlanta on the new hotel, same thing, we'll have an evening to ourselves. As you'll notice on these days, especially Friday and Saturday, it is a lot of walking. So please, when we get to packing, your child must bring comfortable walking shoes. It may be cold, it may be raining. So in addition, just being able to think about the weather as they're getting ready to leave. On Sunday, again, we will have breakfast at the hotel. We will leave the hotel and speak with someone who has worked for the Names Project. And then we will be touring a couple of different neighborhoods, and then I just blanked, sorry. Touring a couple of different neighborhoods and then getting ready to go home after those conversations with 2 of the community members in those prospective areas. As of right now, the woman that we will be speaking to in the morning that works for the Names Project is still on this schedule. Our hope is that the church that we normally go to on Sunday morning is currently closed for the public and only doing virtual church services. So if they, for some reason, open up, which would be great, we will switch our schedule a little bit to be able to go to those. And in that case, the students can wear what they wore to Friday night services, or they can either rewear or bring a second, more conservative outfit. But as of now, it's not on the schedule, but it could come back. Any questions about schedule before I move on? Awesome.
No.
Go ahead.
The only question I have is how much spending money would you suggest that they bring for, I assume it's just Friday they're responsible for.
So they are yeah, so I don't have like a set amount. They will be responsible on Thursday for dinner and Sunday before we leave. And then we are going to be providing snacks, nothing crazy, but having some stuff for the bus and the hotel if needed. But if there are places along the way that they want to buy something, it'll just be like a gas station that we're able to pop into to get something. The only thing I will say is that we often have taken kids to a Waffle House across the street from the hotel. That has been like a whole group thing, so that they would also be responsible for if they decide to eat at that point. But nothing, I mean, just think like 2 airport meals and maybe some gas station snacks and then that Waffle House trip. Thank you. All right. Here is a general packing list. And like I said before, we will send this out. Obviously closed for Thursday evening, Friday through Sunday. Toiletries, we are only taking carry-on bags, so liquids need to be under that 3 ounces. Good walking shoes. We just talked about money. If you are bringing, or if your child is bringing snacks in their backpack, we ask that any snack that they may bring is nut-free. They can bring snacks on the plane as long as they are not liquid, but we do ask nut-free. A water bottle is a great thing. We will be doing a lot of walking. We will have them fill them up before we leave, and then anytime that we're able to get more water along our route, they will be able to do so. Just have it empty before the flight, but we can always do that at the airport. And then we will be going, like I said, to Beth Orr on Friday night. So Shabbat service attire, no leggings, jeans, sweatpants, or anything revealing. Boys can wear khakis and a shirt. Girls can wear a longer skirt or pants or a longer dress. And if there is a chance that we can go to the church on Sunday, it would be the same attire. So that'll be a personal choice of a rewear or bring something else. But at this point, it's not on the agenda. Rain gear in case it rains. You may want a coat. Just kind of monitor the weather before we go. And I will likely send in my final emails before our departure as we get closer, a little bit of a weather update. And then any medications your child takes, please have them bring. We will assist in that process of monitoring those. But if you could also please make sure you write that on that emergency contact form so we know who has what with them. And again, I will send this out to the students as well.
Hi, can I just confirm? I'm probably an idiot. This is Jackie, but on one of the earlier slides, I thought you said we were leaving on a Wednesday, but can you just confirm the flight is on Thursday?
Yes, the flight is on Thursday. Here's the timeline. Thursday, the 24th, and then we return the 27th. This Monday date is that 72 hours prior for the PCR test.
Okay. Yep.
Perfect. All right. Okay. COVID protocol. We are so happy that we are able to take this trip. But obviously there are a couple of things that we still need to do to keep ourselves and the community that we'll be interacting with as safe as possible. So we are asking that 72-hour test. All of those results can be emailed directly to me. We will be taking rapid tests with us in the event that someone isn't feeling well or something occurs while we are on our trip, just to be as safe as possible if we need to give those as we are out in Atlanta and Alabama. Driver's license is, thank you, Norman Sylvia, for that question regarding travel. Driver's license should be good. And if they don't have a driver's license, a permit or a passport, either option will work. But yes, identification. We are requiring masks at all times, except for eating, drinking, or in their actual room in the hotel. We have requested from both hotels that we will be staying at for a private meeting conference room. So anytime kids want to hang out with people that are not in their rooms, we are asking them to do that in the conference room. I have told the kids when they have asked me, I would much rather them stay up late into the night in that conference room where there can be better airflow than in a tight room where there is no one there with them. Both in terms of supervision and in terms of safety. With COVID, they need to be masked at all times unless they're in their room. When eating and drinking, I'll talk about that in a minute, but obviously you can't be masked at that point. Reporting anytime you, whether it's before, during, or after the trip, you have talked to your child or your child is starting to not feel well in any form that may be related to COVID, please make sure you share that with us. They can text me, you can text me, you can call me or email, but for contact tracing purposes and also just so we know and can care and support you in that process, we need to make sure that we know at that point. Yes, Sherry, I see yours about masks to the packing list. Thank you. Absolutely. I'm just going back through. The PCR test can be done on Sunday. That's fine. I think we know students have to go back to school. So the difference between Sunday and Monday, and I know at this point there are some delays in that testing process. So if you feel more comfortable with Sunday than Monday, that's okay. I'm just going through the chat before I move through. What happens if a child gets sick during the trip or tests positive with a rapid test? Great question. We hope that I'm going to repeat the question so everyone can hear me. The question says, what happens if a child gets sick during the trip or tests positive with a rapid test? So we hope and pray that that will not happen and that it will not even be an issue. But should it happen, we are asking that we will move your child to a quarantined room in the hotel, and someone, whether it's you or a guardian or friend or someone that you deem will need to come to where they are to finish their quarantine or to get them home. Like I said, we really hope that that does not happen. All right. Meals. All meals we are eating will either be eaten in a private room or a space outside. Breakfast can be eaten outside the hotel or in their specific room. However, they can't go, if they decide to go in their room, they can't go into each other's rooms. And as much as possible, when we are eating indoors, if it is in a private space, we will be trying to spread out as much as possible. Socializing, we talked about a little bit. Like I said, we will have a meeting room in both hotels. Students are being asked to stay in that space, one, to not bother other guests in the hotel, but also as a way to ensure that we are as spread out as possible with as much airflow as possible, and they will still need to be masked at that point. Absence letters. So some of you have emailed me asking, will we be getting absence letters for school? So the answer is yes, and I have an absence letter that I'm going to email out to everyone. It is a generic letter to the school stating what the purpose of the trip is, when they will be gone, and what we will be doing. They need to bring this to school as well as the note that you would typically write them. That includes your name and phone number and their ID number. In the past, we have not had a problem with them getting excused from school. However, it's a little dicey because technically it doesn't fall under the list of excused absences. But like I said, it's never been an issue, is kind of my one moment on that. So that will go out with this as well. I'm going to take a second to leave this screen up, and I also will put it in the chat. This is my information. If you want to save this in your phone, write it down. I will be the person on our trip, before our trip in the airport, that is first to contact, obviously, other than your student. So if there were to be something that you needed to get in touch with me at, these are the fastest ways. I'm going to put it in the chat real quick as well. Yes, this is also in the email that I sent. And my email is typically at the bottom of all of the high school constant contacts that come out. And Kim, thank you for putting your number there as well.
Yeah, I'm also sharing, I'm the contact person who will not be on the trip, will be here at all times and being in correspondence with all of the different people on the trip. So if for any reason you have questions that are not direct, or that you are having any concern with reaching, you may always contact me. That's my personal cell phone.
Thank you. There is that. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point so that anybody can either ask questions out loud in the chat, or if you want me to go back to something in the presentation, I absolutely can do that.
Hi, it's Jackie again. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And I'm sorry if I missed it, but can you talk about the other staff who will be with you on the trip?
Absolutely. So I am going to be on the trip, like I said. I typically on Tuesday nights work with the 12th graders. So I am their staff at Temple each week. And then we have both 11th grade staff members coming with us. So Rachel Herman will be on the trip. And then also Michael Becker, who has worked with most of your kids at some point.
Alyssa, do you want to speak also about the staffing that comes through ETGAR?
Yeah, great. So we are getting a couple of staff through ETGAR, which is the organization that we partner with to lead the trip once we're there. So they will have a trip leader and then I believe one other staff member. So we're still waiting on who those people are, but they work for their organization, which we've worked with for years, and they will be sending 2 staff in addition to our staff.
So there will be 5 total, 2 focused on all the logistics and process and all those pieces. Our staff are specifically focused for the care of our children and those pieces. So logistics of meals and other factors are ones that are handled by the ETGAR staff, and ours is just health and safety and direct relationships will be worked that way. So 5 in total.
So I have a question. So those staff, do they also have to be, meet the COVID protocols? If our kids also have to have the PCR test, they also have to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Everyone is being asked to test, submit vaccination records, masking. All the protocol is the same for staff and participants. Absolutely. Great question. There are 30 kids going, which we are so excited about. A really, really great group. Any other questions?
One more from Jackie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will the kids, I know you sent out a roommate request form. Is the idea to keep the kids with the same people through the different hotels, or will they be mixing up rooms?
So the rooms at the hotels will be the same in both spaces in order to keep contact tracing and all of the things the same, and also to honor their roommate requests. We did that intentionally, knowing that we were asking that the only people that they were able to be close with and unmasked with were those people that they requested. So we wanted to make sure we honored that, both from the perspective of the parent side and how many kids per room that parents were comfortable with, and which specific children their kids wanted to be with. So it will be the same in both hotels. I don't think I will be sharing who they will be rooming with until we depart, but I did my best, and everyone should have been honored at least one of their requests roommate wise. Some of them were not honored all the way through, only because if you requested 3 other people and you said you were okay with 4 in a room, but someone that they requested said they were only okay with 2 per room, then I had to honor the lower number for safety reasons. Did the kids make the roommate request? Great question. So it was whoever filled out there was a form that came out, and whoever filled that out.
Alyssa, hi, this is Jennifer Lloyd. I'm a little concerned because I have not been getting the emails. Actually, Sherry's been forwarding them to me. So I don't know that I ever got that, or Ella got that form.
Okay, so I'm gonna, give me just a second because I'm gonna write down. Can you email me now that you have my email with the appropriate email that you would like correspondence coming to, so that I can then forward all of that to you?
Yeah, I actually sent you an email at the beginning of this telling you that I wasn't getting the email. So yep.
Perfect. Let me just make sure I got it so that I can then respond.
Okay.
And you sent it to that? Yes, I have it. So I will send you everything so that you have that form and can fill it out. None of it is like completely solidified. So anything that I haven't gotten at this point can be changed if there's something that doesn't align with what you put in that form. And if anybody else is in the same situation of not having received that, or feels like maybe someone else saw it, a kid saw it, a husband saw it, that they want coming to all parties, please just email me and I will happily take care of that as soon as I get your email.
Alyssa, this is Jeff and Toby Kladnick. Question for you, back to if our child gets sick on a departure day from one location to the other, am I understanding, so you're going to leave the kid in the hotel and everybody's going to skedaddle and leave them there until we can get our best flight or get down there in a 18, 24-hour period?
No, we will be leaving a staff there. First of all,
Okay.
we hope that nobody will have to be left and the timeline. We hope, 1, it won't happen at all. 2,
Right.
we hope that it won't happen in a departure day. But regardless of that situation, there will always be a staff member with them.
And if they are quarantined to a room, is that staff member checking on them regularly, or are they leaving them to their
Yes.
own devices because they can't get close?
We will
making
be
sure they're
checking
not.
on them regularly. Our goal in that process, should we have to go through it, although again, knock on wood, we don't, would be that the staff member would be checking on them regularly, getting them whatever they need, food, water, medication wise, to be able to be communicating with them as much as possible until that person were to arrive.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I see that Oh, sorry. I see that Jen had asked about the numbers in the room. There are between 2 and 4 in a
Yes.
room, depending upon your requests of what you had put down as your comfort level. Some people felt comfortable with 4, some people felt more comfortable with 2, and then some have 3, depending upon just how it broke down with relationships and number of rooms.
So that being said, and many of us parents not have seen the form that had been submitted, is there a way that we can actually know that
Yeah.
information?
So if that's something that you would like that you never saw, again, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to share that information with you. And then we can work together if you feel like there's something that you would prefer to be changed. If your child fills it out and you're like, I'm not too sure about that one, we can definitely change any of that as much as possible.
Thanks. And
Absolutely.
so my actual question was,
Yeah.
the airport. Are we supposed to come in with them at departure? And 2,
Mhm.
what about pickup? What in the world do we do?
Yeah, so departure, great question. Departure, you can come in with them if you would like. I would really like to actually ask that you do come in with them until we kind of make the switch off from parent to us. Although if you're carpooling, obviously they wouldn't necessarily be with you. They may be with another parent that you put them in a car with, but until we can make that switch in terms of responsibility, we are going to ask that you come in with them. As far as departure, what did I say? Switch those arrival. When we arrive at BWI at the Delta gate, we ask as well that you meet them at the baggage claim area, which we will get as soon as we'll be sending out communication, but it should be, and I have to look. I will say, let's do this. We'll ask that you come into the airport, plan to come into the airport. You have that timing, and I will send an email with the exact meeting spots of both of those arrival and departure so that you have exactly where to meet us. I don't want to give you information until I have the exact spot.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. So, anyone? I thought I saw someone come off mute.
Hi, Alyssa. This is Sherry Koch. I'm sorry, I came on late. Did you have the times of the flights already?
Yes, let me share my screen so you can see it, and then you can.
Thank you.
I will send Sherry the entire presentation. So if there were other pieces that you may have
Okay,
missed,
thank you.
you'll have that, and then also be able to have the information right there. There it is. There you go.
Perfect, thank you.
Alyssa, can I ask you something really quick also? This is Lori, sorry.
Hi.
And I apologize if you did already say this. So they're getting rapid tests while they're on the trip? And if so, how often?
So only if someone is not feeling well or showing specific symptoms. We are hoping that with the PCR test prior to them departing and the use of masks that we won't need them. We are bringing them more as an emergency use if needed situation.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Awesome. I'm going to stay on. That is where we are concluding for tonight. I will continue to send this information out, and please feel free to contact me